Here's the vice president this week at the Reading Area Community College.
The point about progress is to have the ability to have a vision and a belief and some faith in what can be, unburdened by what has been. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
So President Joe Biden is out and Kamala Harris, for now, is in. The Democrat leadership, knowing that if they didn't close ranks immediately with Harris, would face a complete fracturing of the party, and so they've coalesced around their much derided Vice President Kamala Harris. And the big donor class have also jumped in with this. Their wallets are open for their new presidential candidate, and we've now seen over $80 million in donations flood in. You've got big donors like George Soros and the Hollywood class who are rushing in to shore up the not Biden candidate. As one donor told Deadline, they said, "I am more excited and motivated than I've been in months, and everyone I talk to tells me the same." Well, yeah, finally being able to get rid of a walking corpse and replacing it with a living, breathing human candidate is a substantial move in the positive direction for the Democrat Party. Now, in the mix of all of this, Donald Trump managed to once again troll the media. He wasn't about to let Kamala Harris go in unchallenged, and so he put out a Truth Social post with faux outrage. Here's what he wrote. He said, "So we are forced to spend time and money on fighting crooked Joe Biden. He polls badly after having a terrible debate and quits the race. Now we have to start all over again. Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud in that everybody around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable of running or being president? Just asking." Now, left-wing outlets naturally pounced on all of this, gleefully posting headlines like this: "Trump and his allies are freaking out over Biden leaving the race." This is a Rolling Stone article. In it, they talked about how Trump's musings became more unhinged as the night went on. In another post, they said Trump suggested that Biden was faking a recent COVID-19 diagnosis. The rant extended into the early hours of Monday morning, when Trump accused Democrats of having stolen the nomination from Biden, saying they stole the race from Biden after he won it in the primaries. A first. These people are the real threat to democracy. Now, to the Rolling Stone and all the other news media who, once again, fell for the Trump trolling, are missing the irony that is Donald Trump. Trump is being Trump here. This is not unusual. And he's got this knack for getting the media to amplify whatever points he wants to make, and they dutifully do it. It's unbelievable. Most Democrats in Washington, the news media, clearly Jill Biden and everyone else in his inner circle, knew that Joe Biden's brain was broken. They knew this. And the reality is and was that as long as Joe Biden had a prayer of beating Trump, they were perfectly okay with lying to the American people about Biden's mental capacity. And so they did. They were constantly, for years now, lying directly to the American people with no shame. They were perfectly satisfied with leaving the country in a critically vulnerable state with a commander-in-chief who was anything but a commander-in-chief, practically 1 foot in the door of a senior medical center, ready to live out the rest of his days in a dementia-fueled dream. And so Donald Trump posting this just simply adds to the exposing of what's been going on here. But the news media, they appear to be unaware of Trump's humor as per usual. And so in their lust for trying to put one over the president, they willingly, almost dutifully amplify his message about this embarrassing and horrifying lack of humanity on their part and on the part of the Democrat Party and everyone surrounding Joe Biden, including his wife. It blows my mind that they continually fall for this stuff. But then again, they've really never been able to help themselves when it comes to Trump. Their TDS, or Trump Derangement Syndrome, knows no bounds. Now, all of this being said, I want to shift a little bit to another serious topic. While all of this is going on, the story about the Trump assassination attempt just gets more and more bizarre. One of the latest reveals now is that the shooter, Thomas Crooks, managed to fly a drone over the rally site prior to the shooting. And I'm not talking about days or weeks before. I'm talking about hours before the rally. So the questions here are how? And why did the Secret Service not intercept it? You see, for events like this, Secret Service has protocols. Whenever they have high-profile individuals, specifically presidents or former presidents, the Secret Service will almost always establish secure perimeters and no-fly zones to prevent unauthorized drone activity. But apparently this time it just flew through the cracks, so to speak. This should have been a major red flag. But no, the drone was not intercepted or addressed by the Secret Service or any security personnel. And to amplify how bizarre and insane all of this is, let's take a step back and just look at this laundry list of security failures. First, the building security, this ridiculous, inadequate building security. Local law enforcement, according to reports, informed the Secret Service that they could not secure the AGR building from which the shooter fired on Trump. And despite this warning, the Secret Service, well, they didn't take any measures to secure the building. Number two, you've got communications breakdowns. There were multiple notifications about a suspicious individual in the vicinity before Trump took the stage. He shouldn't have even allowed to be on stage, by the way. However, these warnings, they were not adequately acted upon, to put it nicely. This allowed Crooks to position himself on the rooftop, and despite people in the rally itself spotting him and calling him out, pointing him out, he was allowed to shoot at the president. Then, of course, there's the drone surveillance or lack thereof. So aside from completely ignoring or missing Crooks' drone from a few hours prior to the event, the Secret Service also somehow decided not to use their own drones in the area because reasons. Then there's the tactical oversight. Local snipers were positioned inside the building for whatever reason, but did nothing to prevent Crooks from accessing the roof. And also a tree just so happened to obstruct the view of one of the sniper teams. Why? We don't know. But it managed to hinder their ability to spot and neutralize the threat in time. Sounds like a big oopsie-doopsie to me. Then we have resource allocation. The Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle testified that the assets requested for the event were provided for. However, it appears that it is likely that she is lying here, as there were other reports of denied security requests multiple times at previous events, which may have contributed to the overall lapse in security planning. Then let's talk about the mismanagement of local law enforcement resources. Local authorities had told the Secret Service that they had an inability to properly manage both traffic control and building security. But despite this, the Secret Service did not reallocate resources or provide additional support to cover the gaps. Why would they want to cover the gaps? It's only their primary job. And that takes me then next to the Secret Service's internal coordination. The Secret Service did not respond adequately, obviously, to the local police's warnings about their limited manpower. This lack of coordination between the Secret Service and local law enforcement was a huge factor in the security breach and Trump getting shot, which then takes us to the failure to act on immediate threats. So again, despite spotting Crooks multiple times prior to the event and during the event, including with a rangefinder and photographing him, the local tactical team failed to apprehend him or even get close to him until just before the shooting took place. These people acted like idiots, goobers, morons. And these are supposed to be the best of the best. Well, obviously not. Which then takes me to the inadequate response to suspicious activity. Witnesses and local law enforcement reported seeing Crooks loitering and using surveillance equipment around the rally perimeter. Again, right? I mean, how do you have witnesses and local law enforcement seeing him multiple times, Crooks, loitering and using surveillance equipment around the rally perimeter? The very idea that these observations were not acted upon, allowing Crooks to carry out his plan, is ludicrous. And so obviously there is a leadership and accountability problem here. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, she's even admitted to Congress that it was a colossal failure in protecting Trump, but she's not going to resign. I mean, again, why would she? It's just her responsibility, nothing more. I mean, the more that this piles up, the more it seems likely that this cannot just be sheer incompetence by everyone involved with Trump's security. let me put it to you this way. If we found out tomorrow that the Secret Service or someone involved with this whole scenario here purposefully allowed there to be this kind of negligence to happen, and by that I mean an intent to get Trump, I would be thoroughly unsurprised at this point. We either have the biggest doofuses on the planet running Trump's security here, thank you Secret Service, which would borderline upon criminal negligence in my opinion, or this all happened on purpose. So which scenario is it? I don't think we're going to get the truth from the Secret Service, and the FBI at best is suspect here as an organization. So I honestly, unless something happens with Congress, I don't expect that we're ever going to really find out the truth definitively here. All in all, this election cycle is going to go down in history as the most bizarre, at least to date. Hopefully, God, I hope we don't get worse than this. But man, oh man, what a time to be alive. Anyway, obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on this whole situation as it continues to unfold. And so I'm going to end it here. From the To Be Frank show, my friends, I am Adrian. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you all in the next video.